We have here with us today Jayesh Hariyani, architect, planner, and lots more. Lots more. In his introduction, there's way too much to say, so I'd put very little in the slide. Jayesh Hariyani has a diploma in architecture from CEPT University. He has a master's in architecture, specializing in urban design and planning from Syracuse University, New York, and an executive level EMBA from Katz School of Business at the University of Pittsburgh. His EMBA is a specialty. It was focused on sustainable urban real estate development. Jayesh, as he says, he is deeply engaged in transforming the practice and education of architecture, urban design, and planning to make them more relevant, effective, and environmentally conscious. He also happens to be a classmate of mine, and we've spent long times together. Welcome, Jayesh. And a little more about Jayesh in terms of projects. He is a high achiever. Among the recent ones, he was among the finalists of the Central Vista project, which everybody keeps reading about. He is currently also doing Rajkot as a smart city. He's done Kedarnath development, after the destruction, the whole restoration of Kedarnath. He's doing Badrinath project now, and a host of more. And just for a student's local reference, Lake 33 that you keep seeing opposite our campus, that's also one of his works. What I'll do is I'll leave the platform to Jayesh, because we're here to hear him, not for me to bore you. So let's get him online. Jayesh, the floor is yours.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, thanks for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to meet and exchange whatever our thoughts are in this platform. Shantanu, thank you for a wonderful introduction. I think you probably glorified me more than what I am. So thank you for that as well. Now, I'd like to first understand the mix of the participants today, so I can fine-tune my space in the presentation and dialogues accordingly. So what I learned that there will be a mix of students that will be architecture, planning, and even the
interior design.
Interior design. Okay. I'd like to see the mix is from third year onwards, or is it from first year all the way to final year?
It's first year to final year. It's open to all.
Okay.
And we have one alumni batch that also comes in, the batch that just graduated.
Okay, wonderful.
And of course, a lot of interested faculty.
Okay, wonderful. So thanks again for having me. Now, while Shantanu was talking to me for this particular presentation, and I was trying to understand what exactly would make more meaningful evening for all of us. And the task or the objective which I was told is that I should probably cover range of a project in the realm of urban design or a large scale. That is what I was told to focus. So that's what I have tried to do it. Hope I will probably cover what was intended for me to cover. Now, my entire today's theme is again based on our design ethos that our practice generally is guided by, and one of them is sustainability. So I kind of tried to create a story on how we drive sustainability in more meaningful ways. So I've probably touched on that in each project and at the beginning to define the stage for today. With that, I will start my presentation. We can do two ways. I think question answers we can do at the end, because I think in a virtual world, informal way, you can raise a hand and I can stop and take the question. May not be as logically possible. So I think we can do the questions at the end
Yes,
together, right?
you're right.
So let me start my screen. Can you see the slides?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. The way I have done for today is that I'd like to cover not project, but the process that we follow designing such projects. So I've kind of included a lot of slides which shows the process, and I will go fast to give a glimpse and experience of how we do things in our studio and what process we follow. So let's start. First of all, since this is our first introduction, I'd probably have a few slides about I&I and what we stand for. So in terms of what drives us, that our projects kind of always try to put people first. We always try to do what is right. I mean, right, defining right is always a challenge, but we can't really do soul search to find what is right for the project. Always extend our design problem to connect with the community at larger level, whether the project is of one building or multi-building or of urban scale. Community drives us and our designs. As a team, we really are driven to achieve in the interest of the project and the community, and we believe that we are better together. So it's always working in a team rather than somebody from top driving the project or a practice. In terms of our design ethos, we have developed a unique methodology which is guided our projects and practice. So we call that as 10 metrics project guidelines. About this, there's a book published which describes on our 10 metrics published by Oro edition from USA. The book is available globally, talks about 10 metrics as listed. One is humanism, the story, innovation, integration, sustainability, context, aesthetics, content, performance, and representation. So every project really takes some of these drivers and drive them. Our design philosophy is centered itself upon collaboration and is guided by research, sustainability, and integrated design process. Another book is published by Mapping on our work, available again on bookstores and online. It's called Designing for Modern India, and it also touches by 60 different project case studies of ours on how we do things and what drives us. We practice in most of the sectors for the built environment, whether it's a planning at urban level or a city level or a regional level. Then building level, we are into most of the sectors, whether it's corporate, commercial, healthcare, education, residential, sports, or hospitality, science and technology, industrial, and civic. So we have a lot of expertise that we bring on the projects sector-wise. Our project footprints as of today, so we do work here in India as well as outside internationally. To deliver project types that we work on, we have to have all type of expertise in-house. So we have pretty much teams that cover planning expert, urban design experts, architecture, engineering, infrastructure, landscape architecture, PMC, and interior design. In India, we have several locations and some international locations. So we started as an international brand called Bird Hills Tentec, and for South Asia, we introduced a brand called I&I Design Studio. So that's some brief about us. Now we jump into today's theme, which I'm calling today is design driven by ethos of sustainability and spirituality. So we call it S and S theme, or S plus S theme today. To start with today's presentation, it offered me an opportunity to go back to my student life, and it is every day I am still student. And I started asking, what is my role? 30 years of a practice and still being a student, what is my role and responsibility as an architect or as a professional? What do we do as a designers, in architecture? And the way I look at it is we create physical framework for life, and purpose should be to facilitate enhancement of a life. Question I ask all the time is, can we influence and enable life to realize its potential by our work? And I always believe that yes, even if it's a small project or a large urban project, we always can find an opportunity to facilitate through our design to really enhance the life. Can we contribute to infuse a positive change? And that's what excites me, that through our project, we should find a meaning and then see what positive impact we can do in the communities or in the neighborhood where we work on a project. So it's always a journey. Each project is new challenge, brings new opportunities, and we are on a quest of seeking something new. And I see that there's a similar approach in the spiritual journey as well. So I said, what spirituality? I kind of started looking at the understanding of it, and ultimately spirituality is all about seeking too, like what we do in architecture practice or planning practice, that we try to seek on something and it really inspires us to work on that project and find a meaningful design. So seeking for a connection to something bigger, and it typically involves a search for meaning in life. That's a spiritual seeking, the inner quest for the true meaning of our existence. And spirituality is now more softer aspect of life, elusive, and needs tremendous effort to understand and practice. And so do architecture or planning or any design profession. So when you are on a journey of a spiritual seeking, what is the experience like? I am not an enlightened person, but through the reading and through a lot of research, a little sense of experience I try to get it. And whenever I get a moment, it feels like a deep sense of awareness, aliveness, interconnectedness, and compassion. Same for sustainability. What it is to me to exist in harmony and to continue existence in harmony. Again, it is elusive and needs a lot of effort to practice. And to practice, we need to understand it thoroughly. A relationship I tried to find between two S, that without an appropriate spirituality, even the idea of sustainability is unsustainable. So for me, it is a journey, a process which is a very dynamic, evolving, a sense of purpose. My personal definition of spirituality and sustainability evolves day by day and changes dynamically as I learn more and adapting to my experiences and relationships. So that's what our practice really feels like to me after 30 years and day in and day out. So I started drawing a sketch of it, that on one side we have a spirituality, the other side we have sustainability. Both are seeking process. And both really, when you start on a journey, is becoming aware. And spiritual side, you are becoming aware of a body, mind, emotions, energy. On sustainability side or a sustainable practice side, you are trying to becoming aware of context, sounds, vegetation, culture, social aspect, economic aspect, and so on and so forth. Once you continue, you try to be connecting with big. So in spirituality, you try to become with God, becoming one with God or a nature or with universe. On the other side, you try to connect with big, which is community, city, region, country, or the ecosystem. So path of the seeking more or less runs on a parallel side, whether it's spirituality or sustainability. Experience what it is in spirituality, we already said ecstasy, nirvana, bliss, and so on and so forth. In the sustainability side, you can become aware of the forces around the context, so physical forms, light, non-physical form, such as the tranquility, productivity, happiness. How do you bring into your projects? And both come up at the end, make you aware of sense of your responsibility, what you have to do for humanity, and doing what's right. So that's kind of diagram. Now, with 3 case studies, I will try to connect the sustainability aspect and how it is extension of a spirituality. Because with it, as I said, without spirituality, sustainability cannot be possible. So case study 1. This is the assignment that we are working for a city of Ahmedabad, where it's a PPP project where the Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation and many other departments of authority have joined hands with a private company called Abalon, and we have joined as a design partner for this project. So what seeking element here is understanding the nature of the waste. Now this is, we are talking the waste of the city, solid waste. I had never exposure of really doing a project like this before. So what waste means and what Ahmedabad really generates as a waste needs to be understood. So that's one of the seeking that started as we started this project, learn about the technologies that turn waste into energy, transformation of a right technology for the city, because each city has a different configuration of waste. So which technology has to be brought in, and setting a right design for the city of Ahmedabad. So these are the seeking drivers, I would say. If you have passed through Ahmedabad city from Baroda, you drive through these mountains of Pirana, which is a dump site over past 40 years. About 84 acres of a dump site, 12 million tons of metric million tons of waste, about 75 feet high mountains, and fires and toxin fumes, and a lot of hazardous experience you go through if you just climb on those mountains. Some of the images, 7th largest city as Ahmedabad, and as we know, it generates around 4,000 tons per day of waste. Humongous quantity. Here are the images of those mountains that we have created. And what we learned by seeking process that Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation collects the waste from residential and commercial units. So the industrial waste is not part of this equation. And there are 7 transfer stations across the cities where they collect the waste in a smaller mountains, and then they transfer through these trucks into this humongous mountain. So there are trucks going back and forth on a round trips, day in and day out, to bring that 4,000 tons of waste into this mountain. So in seeking, we started looking at what all this means in transportation and calculated carbon emission of this transportation of all this waste back and forth, and how much diesel is consumptions and CO2 emission per day, and so on and so forth, and how much from these stations our site is, and what more distance they have to travel, so on and so forth. So a lot of what I'm trying to show here is it was a lesson for me and my team to really go through all this. When we do this city scale project, it's a lot of things that are involved that we generally don't get exposure into the academic life. And we have to really start being a student all the time to learn, analyze things, and see how you can take design cues from that. So the findings that how much CO2 emission per day and per year, so 8,100 tons CO2 is generated. Now that is the overall equation of understanding how cities managing and transporting waste. So rather I would say mismanaging rather than managing and creating these mountains. And today we don't know what to do with those mountains. So that's another project that we are participating. But right now we talk about this particular waste to energy campus. Now to understand the waste, we have to understand the chemical composition of this waste. So like we have done this project in, let's say, Western context. The waste composition in the US or Europe is different than the waste composition in this Ahmedabad city or in any other city in India. What waste generated in Delhi could be different than what is generated by Ahmedabad. So you have to really understand the composition of the waste. So we started with working with the laboratories who really dissect all this waste into different components and then find the chemical composition of it by analysis. So laboratory analysis, and then we work with the technical providers on which technology to be deployed here. And what interesting lessons we learned that none of the technology available in the Western side used cannot be deployed directly here in India. So we had to really even transfer the technology to adapt to this waste. So a lot of engineering, a lot of process engineering that we work with before even we start understanding what technology and what type of a building it will require. So after a lot of this analysis, we said, okay, we have at least learned enough where we can start bringing all of the stakeholders to learn more. So that's a chapter 2 of the process. So we deployed a 3-day workshop where we lead the entire workshop, where citizens, their leadership, AMC officials, the clean energy company, our team, various financial institution, because they have to fund the project, different engineers who will want to comment on the projects, and universities and technical sites, all were invited to participate. And we started with this 3-day workshop, some of the images of that workshops. So we draw a lot of sketches like what we do in student life also, pin up things, uh, draw things, tear it apart, start resketching, get input of officials, technology providers, and so forth. So you can see 3-day intense studio session like things happen, where a lot of churning happens, negotiations happens. And after 3 days, we created the seeking, becoming aware of the waste, what issues we have to deal with, and how do we connect with big uh, when we start designing the project. So we defined the connect with big elements. So optimize use of land. There were several sites. We looked at it, but the site given at the end was at about 18 acres land parcel near Pirana. And we said we want to utilize only half of it or less than half, and we want to create some community engagement for the other half of the land, enhancing the neighborhood profile, because nobody wants to go there or live there or nearby. Campus for all, it should feel that it's not just a waste campus, it should really be inviting for all. Offer learning experience for kids and educational institution, and contribute to renewable energy and solid waste management research cell. Offer platform for social participation, and we committed uh, as a designer, but we made sure that the client is committed for a green campus, carbon neutral campus, and energy positive campus. And we bring some of the social infrastructure to city to the back through this project. So these were the larger component that how we can bring the big connection through this project for the city. So that's where we started. And then we wrote a common statement that this compass to reflect the good management system and sustainability commitment of a city of Ahmedabad, the private client, and our own design team. So this is the technology highlights. Designed for Indian context, no human interface, mass thermal cracking technology, and energy efficient. So this started helping us what type of architecture and what type of other programmatic need we would need. So we did 3Ds of this, we did 3D model, and here is the sketch that kind of just outlines the component of the entire master plan. So as you can see, the left side of the parcel is about 40% of the parcel. So we designed the entire process and the entire integration of all of the components for the turning waste into energy into 40% of the site, which is on the left side, and about 60% of the site is dedicated to sports and other aspects where nearby community, which is not as affluent community, can come here and use the field and use the park as their own amenities. So some of the early renderings where we said we want to give experience where people are not afraid that we are here in the surrounding where the waste is brought in and waste is processed. So it should look a pristine park-like environment for the waste process campus as well as the community campus. So this is what we started. So it should have some of the cafeteria zone like this, where it can be shared by the company, where process is given, as well as the community. Here is the overall feel of the campus. So it should look lush green and not like a mountain of a heap of a waste and nobody wants to come. So some of the early images. And we looked at displaying the technology with a transparent facade where the north light is brought in, an entire process is exposed like the cleanest process, that people are not afraid and get concerned about that this is generating even more toxic. So really transparency was brought in, that we are transparent in processing everything, and this is the most cleanest plant which will generate waste into energy at a global level. We used a lot of other technologies and even the renewable energy means for solar and so forth in the overall master plan. Instead of a ugly looking cooling tower, we introduced a new sprinkler system and fogging system to get all of the process heat through these fogs. So that is about the overall design. The capping up for that project, in summary, it will generate about 15 megawatt green power, cleanest power for the city from the city's waste. Will produce about 4,000 kg of a clean biogas for bio CNG. Will produce about 150 ton per day of construction material from the recycling of some of the waste aspect. And city generates a lot of wastewater. And so what we said, can we use this wastewater into process water for this plant? So we tried to commit to use 1.2 million liter per day of a city's wastewater for a processing. We'll produce some of the metals and recycle them. And as I said, we'll be setting a benchmark for cleanest plant in the country. Will be energy positive, as you can see in this particular chart, and not only energy neutral, but energy positive in terms of the overall. So will be on the process side, about 12 megawatt will be positive, and on a building side, it will be 0.05 megawatt in a positive. As we said, we want to connect with the big, so groundbreaking. We invited a lot of people, a lot of stakeholders, including citizens. And in the first foundation laying day, we planted about 12,000 trees. As you can see, like ceremony or a festival was on, and a lot of trees have been planted. And today, as the site is still under construction, this is a site being during the construction. Today, the site looks like this, lush green with a lot of lotus already maturing. The process plant is under construction, as you can see, and the greenery is already mature all around the plant. This is how you enter in the campus. So you can see that entire experience is already getting in place while the plant is being constructed. And even it provides the wonderful atmosphere for the people who are executing project, whether it's the contractors or the laborers or all of the technical support staff, as you can see here. And even in this 2 days Diwali time, this is a recent picture, day before yesterday, about 2,000 diyas have been celebrated around the plant to celebrate with the community this wonderful festival of light. And it has been awarded a platinum certified green project at the highest level by Indian Green Council. So if we commit from day one, define what we are trying to do and seek for it, and really drive the process based on our seeking, the result can be wonderful, no matter whether we are generating energy out of a solid waste, and it could be really wonderful experience for the city as a whole, while even making the financial viability for such projects. So that's what the story I would like to leave behind in the first project. Capping up again S plus S diagram. If I zoom in the connecting with the big, so we try to connect with citizens of the city. We committed that we want to make the city clean by recycling this waste. We brought in a lot of elements to enhance the neighborhood profile, including the sports facility and other green features. We have added the component in the program for R&D facility in the campus, and a lot of students will be brought in to tour the campus and see how the waste is generated. And even for nationwide, for other cities, it will set up a training platform so that they can also transform their waste into renewable energies, bringing sports for this non-affluent neighborhood. They will enhance their health profile also, we believe, and turning waste into more renewable and sustainable products. So that's the big connection story there. At the end, what is the experience? We'll get the cleaner city, will be much smarter citizens and city-wise. Everybody will be pride element to that, and will attach to pride element to that. Wonderful success story of a PPP, because we feel that nobody wants to partner with government, but through these stories, people, private players will partner and get inspired and will inspire other cities. So that's the case study one. In the interest of the time, I will go even faster because I want to share the process more and the story on how the process is driven. Case study two, as Professor Santanu said, we were shortlisted all the way to top 4 in this competition and the international bid for the National Parliament and Central Vista. Again, seeking process started, never ever have designed parliament. So have to really again do the seeking that what it means. So understand the nature of the project, complexity of the program, and the complexity of the heritage, significance of the site. What are the national objectives versus political objective? Pride factor is attached. What is the new India sentiments? Respond to future aspirations while integrating the heritage, and even deal with not so transparent process in terms of selecting the right design or a right design team. So all these are part of the complexity and seeking process. And we connect well. I mean, to design the parliament and the complex, have to understand the democracy, its challenges and opportunities. And the way we design in our offices is more democratic, that we do a lot of internal design charrette, put ideas on a wall, anybody can throw idea, and then we screen idea one by one, and go for the right idea, for the right, because it is right and will do the justice to the project. So here are some of the images while we were working on designing this. So the first is the India factor, that we call ourselves largest democracy and most diverse and vibrant democracy. So we looked at, and this was interesting for me and entire team, that okay, we never look and think about what's constitution of India and what drives us and so forth. So we started really looking at with different set of lenses and how it can guide our design process here. Looked at a lot of historical data and how it has really evolved over the period as a pride of nation, and how today's generation connect and how they aspire for this particular aspect. And we have to look at what's there in existing. So we did a lot of exercise and surveys to understand what are the civic clusters there, try to understand the scale. This is about 900 acres entire site, about 3 kilometer long and about 300-meter wide, and a lot of intricacy attached to it. Developed a figure ground to understand the nature of urban spaces, what heritage buildings that we have to make sure we understand and retain them, or propose something to enhance them. What are the circulation bottlenecks as is, and how we can really build them as an opportunities. We looked thoroughly the traffic analysis and peak hour traffic volume studies and in each stretch of the site. Road service provisions, whether they are enough or not, and did a lot of urban level transportation level analysis, and then we started providing for what we need to do and which areas we will restrict or bypass and so forth. Then open space studies, and we see a lot of unused green and different categories of green which are there. Some are kept well and majority of them are not kept as well. So what we see in the TV during the ceremonies is all we know. But there's a lot that we don't know, like this. And that is a major portion of it is totally unattended, and a lot of inefficiency and dead spaces which are kept not well or not efficiently used. Then land use studies, because a lot of challenges and political and urban level negotiations have to happen to change some of the land use that we have to propose. So after all this, we started what is needed, what are the objectives of this project. So we understand it right. At building level, at master plan level, at pride level. And we'll started listing them. I won't read each of them because there's a long list of it. Then we started looking at challenges and complexities at functional level and how we can mold them into design. What are the logistics issues such as phasing? Well, when we do all these, the government has to keep functioning. So all that has to be built in, such as shifting, transitions, non-disruptive demolition, adaptive reuse, and a lot of this. And last but not least is ultimately we want to make it more environmental friendly and bring back more and greener aspects back in the city and this particular Central Vista. So as I said, how many times one designs the parliament of the nation? Not that much often. And how many countries do that? Probably once in a 2 century or 3 century. And who have done it? So we started looking at how it is done by others and what drives it. So we looked at governance aspect, that most of the places, how the civilization started. It started with a temple, and temple becomes the center of a power, and they govern, and everything grows around, and it becomes a city. So centrality is the key there. Then we looked at some of the capital complexes or parliament across the globe, and looked at their scale and compared with our scale, and looked at what drove those elements and their designs. This is Australia, this is Romania. Each one we looked thoroughly, their program, their context, their surrounding overall drivers, Germany. And then we mapped all of them as one wall of a display in terms of what size of land they deal with, what population that they will deal with, and what contexts are driven, and so forth. And key takeaways we listed that would help us. So again, student, I think in your projects you do the same, whether you are designing a small house or maybe a residential cluster or maybe urban project. The process is the same, that it's a lot of soul searching, lot of learning, and that guides the design. So again, once we go all this, we defined that the design to reflect citizens' aspiration and their empowerment and the dreams, and transparency, equity, vibrancy, and people-first approach will drive our design. So that is all previous processes and how now it transfers into a design. We looked at the three options. Option one, where we would locate the Parliament complex, because Parliament complex is a small component of the overall entire experience of a Central Vista. Okay, so but Parliament drives into the people's mind and into the political leadership mind. So where do we locate that? If you are aware of the current location of the circular building, option one is where we locate opposite to current Parliament House. The central axis or a central vista is that connects the President House and the India Gate. That's where we see an experience as experience of a central vista. When you drive through or when you walk through, the Parliament House is on the side, the existing. And so first option, we thought maybe we locate it just across it, but not on the central axis. The second option, we thought maybe we locate on the opposite side, but on the central axis, opposite of the current Parliament House, where we could vacate the site easily to start building the Parliament House. We were not happy these two options because it really does not bring the centrality at the core front, or at a center should drive. So we said the third option, where it should really connect the President House and the India Gate and anchor the entire region of a central Vista region. So Parliament should be the central focal point and really set the inviting gesture for all of the nation across all of the states. So that's what we thought and got excited that we go with option 3 rather than the other 2 locations. When we are building for future generation and for next couple of 100 years, we have to be bold enough to really make a statement that we are not just responding, but we are doing it right to establish the new India in a new way. So that was our statement there. And as we have seen this image that it's a temple of a democracy, so it should be central and everything should really work around that and should be a pride for the nation. So here are the diagrams of how it evolved. The axis evolved and brought everything into the new parliament as a central focal point. And then the entire central Vista will respond to it in a new way. And we brought in some of the intervention to realigning the traffic circulation so that the entire thing in the center is a pedestrian driven zone and all of the traffic is on the perimeter of it. So we created some of the underground tunnel to bypass the traffic and the pedestrians have no interruption whatsoever. We created the shuttle service that really brings the transportation for pedestrian in a more greener way. So again, you can see everything is evolved around the centrality of the Parliament House. All of the ministry will sit on the surrounding both sides. Will enhance the heritage factor of the 2 North Block and South Block and the current Parliament House. And here is the evolution transferred into overall master plan with a temple of democracy at the center. I won't go into explaining every detail. I want to just show you what goes into plan for such projects. So I'm focusing on it. And then we looked at each experiences that how the citizens of India will really be welcomed here. So we looked at those components zone by zone and how we will do interventions to bring back the vibrancy back into each element of the central Vista. Here is the rendered image. So the center Vista transformed in a new way. And what buildings will be retained and enhanced. New figure ground. New circulation. So the traffic is on the perimeter and entire green color is all pedestrian. Then the parade route we defined again so that the parade experience is even more enhanced. Overall landscape master plan, and then we go detailing the central Vista corridors and on the sides, the ministry, how they will really be dealt in terms of a traffic on the perimeter and how they will bring back the pedestrians visitors into the minister's visitor centers. So all that is defined zone-wise, and some of the landscape elements and native vegetations that what we can bring in into each sector. I'm going very, very fast because that's what one has to do in a short time. How do you really touch on the different, uh, I would say, disciplines into more collaborative and integrated way? That's what drives the larger project. This is the water body side, so how we will enhance the overall experience for the visitors through these sectors. The Rajpath experience is redefined, and what existing trees are there and how we will enhance those clusters. So here is the experience at the canal side, and how the Temple of Democracy sits and invites all of the citizens. This is the details of the Parliament House. I won't explain the floor plans of it, but a lot goes into understanding the functions of the operation of government, and how Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha, and what other facilities really are needed. So we had to really understand in detail each of it, the different movement of the VIPs, ministers, the MLAs and MPs, and how the services are getting in and out, and traffic getting in and out, and where they will park, and how security will be defined. And so a lot goes into all this. But these are the interesting diagram to define the scale of the new Parliament House. So background, you have the Rashtrapati Bhavan. So we looked, and then you have a north and south block. We looked at the scale of it and how the base of the architecture is defined. And we just superimposed the new Parliament temple and how transparent and inviting it will be. So you can see that it is not overpowering any of the heritage building, but it will make a real bold statement for the new India. Scale-wise, we respected the lines and the character of the plinth and so forth in the new. Here is the sketch superimposing the newer with the existing. Some of these sectional studies that how it will. One of the concern that we had that when we put the central location, the entire viewing of the Rashtrapati Bhavan will be compromised, where we really worked very hard to frame the view when you come from the India Gate to this location and enhance that view with the new temple. Some of the interior images of the Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, and how modern technology will be introduced, the Parliament Library, and the citizens of India, the visitors that visit here will get the entire plaza on the top of the Parliament as a public space, and celebrate this, that on top people of India are there, the government and the leadership are below us. So that was the statement that we wanted to make. Here are the view of the central vista from the top plaza, and how you arrive to the top plaza, and how the entire thing becomes so inviting, celebrating, and iconic, and even glorified at a different time of the days with the water body and reflection. And the Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha scheme is so dynamic that whatever festival or the events are driving the country, those things can be projected or reflected on it. So if you have a national game that we won or a World Cup, uh, those things will be reflected there. If you have a 26th January, the national pride will be reflected on it, and so on and so forth. Then each ministry will invite into the exhibit space where they can demonstrate to the citizens what projects the ministries are working for people. So it should not be that they are locked in with and citizens can enter to the ministries. So we proposed all these elements. We looked at a lot of sustainability aspect, and this covers the sustainable drivers for the entire Central Vista 900 acres. I'm not going to go through each one, but the renewable energy, net positive building. So Central Temple will be generating power rather than using. So it will be a net positive, world's first parliament ever. Lot of passive strategies have been introduced. Green mobilities for the circulation has been looked for. The rainwater runoff, totally capturing every drop of rain into rainwater harvesting, and so forth. The like in student life, I used to really love exploring this axonometric. So we even today try to do that system by system, and a lot of net zero features have been built for this design. So that's the case study 2 on how we wanted to give back to the nation. Drove this entire project in terms of connecting with big here. Last case study, and I'll go fast. This is the Sankaracharya Samadhi on a redevelopment project that we are working on a Kedarnath up in Himalayas. As you can see, the Kedarnath before flooding 2013 on the left side, and after flooding, so entire island was pretty much washed. This is what most of us have seen after flooding in videos and news. This is what it is trying to restore. This is what was, and this is after phase 1 completion. So the way we are trying to execute that, it should not overpower. It should really still respect the nature and the materiality and the style of whatever intervention in the redevelopment we do should not overpower what's there, which is now only nature, because everything is flooded and we are trying to restore. So we want to respect the ecosystem and do take cues to enhance that. This is what it was. This is what it is now as we build. So you can see that we want to really focus on the Himalayas and the mountains beyond rather than the built environment. The built environment should build but not really overpower and should blend into it. Here is the master plan of the entire Kedarpuri. And I have a short video that will showcase the entire master plan quickly before we go into the Samadhi, which is a project within a project of a Kedarnath redevelopment.
The overall vision of this master plan
Sorry.
is to restore the spiritual
Can you
glory
guys
of this
hear
temple town
the sound?
through a series of thoughtful interventions.
Yes, we can.
The sound of the video, can you see?
Yes,
sorry, here?
yes.
By
Okay.
keeping the temple as the center of the vision and providing a mesmerizing experience to the pilgrims. The master plan is envisaged with minimal environmental impact, considering highest sustainability
I'm not
measures,
speaking because
and
it
by
has a
involving key
narration.
stakeholders' input
Yeah.
through a participatory planning methodology. It is periodically reviewed by various state government officials and the committed private players, including JSW Group, under the personal guidance of the Honorable Prime Minister. The road from Gauri Kund is not motorable. The execution and the mobilization of a project of this scale in extreme weather and geographic conditions of Kedarnath is a great challenge. It was important to restore the shape of the island by reclamation of washed out land and construction of multi-tiered protection walls along the Saraswati and Mandakini river edges as a part of the disaster management strategy. The 10 feet narrow temple street prior to the disaster had many damaged buildings with 30,000 tons of debris spread around. The debris were leveled along 840 feet long stretch by developing a monumental stepped temple street. It is constructed using 20,000 locally available stones dressed by the regional craftsmen. The 104 feet diameter arrival plaza at the confluence of the two rivers is constructed by using 51,000 local stones laid in a radial formation. The temple plaza is constructed of 15,200 local stones laid in 4,340 square meters of area. The Tirth Purohit houses are being constructed phase-wise by following the local architectural style with the use of local stone and wood with slate-tiled pitch roofs.
Okay. So this is one of the earlier models. So we do build a lot of model as you all do during student life. That never ends. In fact, it increases the more you do physical models. We do a lot of 3D models, but we do a lot of physical models to really get a feel of it and keep doing it as we evolve in our design. So next few slides, what I want to cover, not more on the master plan, because there's a lot going on in the master plan. As we see, what you saw in the video is phase 1 being implemented, and same way there is a Sankaracharya Samadhi, which was also washed out, and it's a very significant aspect of the entire Kedarpuri after the temple. That Samadhi was also washed out. Now the religious leaders, we have to work with them. You cannot change the location of the Samadhi. But everything was washed out. So we have to find where exactly it was and try to re-establish at the same location where a lot of people helped in finding the coordinates of it. So where circle is where the original Samadhi was, and that's where we have proposed it. Oh, these are just images, rendered image, and as phase 1 being implemented. This photo was when Prime Minister was visiting during the execution, that time before and after. So a lot of such documentation is being taken up. These are the renderings of the ghat and ghat side, and that is being implemented currently. This is the central temple axis and the overall architecture on both sides. So a lot of lessons here to understand the local architectural language, materiality, and the craftsmanships and so forth. What I want to enhance that the first two projects, what we saw, there's nothing like here in terms of architecture. Each project has a different architectural and planning response. So we are not stuck with our own style. I think our approach is what is the right thing to do for that particular project and respect that and evolve design out of that. You can't just do the modern thing and force your style here. So we have no style, but our style is more what is the context driving us, what is the right thing to do for that site. That will be our style. This is the NUV-SEDA, so the Samadhi location is just behind that. This was the previous Samadhi building. So what inspired me here is to learn a lot about the history of Kedarnath, the stories behind the Shiva and Shiv Tattva, because it's not about the temple, it's about the Shiv Tattva that you experience when you are in those mountains, that you feel the energy which is there. It's not about the built environment. I think the mountains and the surrounding offers a lot of Shiv Tattva. And similarly, the Samadhi is driven by this saint and the person who created the Brahma Sutra. So it was a journey for me to learn about what is Brahma Sutras, and there are a lot of adhyayas of the sutras and so forth. Nothing to do with the design, but it offers a lot of opportunities to open ourselves to new learnings and what sutras talk about in terms of a spiritual journey. So on the black figure in the temple, you have then the NUV-SEDA, and then challenge we had was that whatever intervention we do should not overpower the surrounding as well as temple, because temple is the focus of the entire Kedarnath. So we looked at how do we go about it, because the terrain on the back side is higher than temple. So we said we have to submerge. I mean, Samadhi most of the time relate to something below ground. So we said this will connect well. So we will submerge this so that it does not overpower the temple or surrounding, but will create an unique experience for the Samadhi. So some of the plans early that we tried to develop. So we developed how do you go down. So journey of experiencing the path of Samadhi. So two concentric ramps, one going up and one going coming up, have been detailed, and the center is where the Samadhi is, and through the through the center, how do you bring back the energy? So PM said that can we look at the putting the yantra as a center, and the Sankaracharya is floating about this yantra. So we give me the opportunity to understand the yantras. What is Sri Yantra? So there is a whole new learning process of a seeking that what is yantra and what yantra is driven by these different triangles and what it means and how they drive the stories of a spiritual journey. Wonderful experience. Here are the sections that how we submerged the Samadhi and not overpower the temple or the surroundings. Some of the earlier sections and what the scale of the Shankaracharya statue should be, and what way we will represent, and how it will connect with Sri Shankara and Shiva. A lot of these wonderful stories that I won't talk a detail. Now focus is the process, so bear with me. Again, physical model and another clip of a movie. I hope you are able to get the sound of it. Yes, no?
No, not yet.
Is it there?
No.
Okay, I
Now
don't know
it
why.
is.
Okay.
No, again it stopped. Sorry.
Is it there?
No.
Okay, let's live with it.
Yeah.
So you can see this, since the sound is not there, how the entire thing is more, I would say, contemporary feel to it, but still tying the story of Yantra and the bringing you to experience the sound of Om as you travel through the path and as you enter into the central sculpture base, where you are disconnected with the surrounding unless you see up on the sky. So your focus and your entire consciousness is brought to experience the experience of Shankaracharya and connect to the divine soul. So that was the story there. Some of the renderings of the same, and here digging the debris. Now all this what you see is all the flood debris as we cut the hole, and the foundation is being built as we speak. Again, the entire Kedar Puri is certified based on the green features that we have incorporated as a platinum level green project. Last slide, wrapping up, back to S+S, the spirituality and sustainability. What we try to connect with. So first, becoming aware with the context, the sounds of Himalaya, sounds of wind and vegetation, what culture aspects, social aspects of the mountains and the mountain architecture. Be aware of that, and how the spiritual and the national aspect is seeing it. Then connect with the big, which is the glory of mountains, the Shiv Tattva, the eternal energy, pilgrims, all side rivers, and the sky up above. So really to make sure that all of the pilgrims feel this connection. And at the end, what experience it will provide? Will it help to at least give the moment of ecstasy and help you to, even for a second, feel the Shiv Tattva and how it connects to the ecosystem around, and what more amenities, while not degrading the entire environment, it will bring to pilgrims, because it is very up high there without any amenities for pilgrims. So try to bring some of the amenities there. So that's what the experience enhancement it will bring. So that's where I'm concluding. I will stop my slides. Give me 1 second. I'll just grab a bottle of water, if you guys don't mind.
Sure, sure.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry, bottle
Yeah,
was
yeah.
took a while to find my own bottle. So
Right. Now, if you stop sharing, we can see you.
yes, let me do that. Is it
Yes.
okay?
Yes, yes. So now it's really interesting that you start with radically different thoughts. That actually a waste dump, which is a problem, becomes a project, and not only a project, you make it sustainable, you make it energy positive. Okay, so I mean it's a dream. It's actually converting opportunities into projects. Now that's really fascinating. And then you lead us onto the complexities of designing the seat of government, which is again, I mean, only the select few can reach there, but it's an intense level of work. And then finally, you reach your spiritual levels where you actually get to relate to places of God and actually get to redesign. So amazing link of the stories. Uh, it's very nice that the students got to see your storytelling. how you explain a project, because this is something they take years to develop. And this is the essence of selling a project. Now, in terms of questions, I have few. One is, people are normally scared of working for the government. Okay, governments, we think, will they pay? One, will they listen to me? And what will happen when the government changes? Right? You manage to work repeatedly with the government. How do you do it?
A good question. Uh, we are still learning how to work with government, to be very frank. Each project brings a number of challenges, and we thought maybe now we know how to really do this. And next project, you are really dumbfounded and find another challenge. So that's the story of life working with government. It is not easy. I mean, I had to really go deep in my consciousness that do I really want to work with government where we hear horror stories of corruption and no ethical way of doing things. Leadership changes, political parties changes, funds are there or not there, you have no control over it. Who will make the final call? So questions are infinite. So on one hand, I say, why the hell I want to break my life and my consciousness working for government? And every architect has a dream that, okay, in my previous life of a practice, as you know, Santanu, yes, I get residential project, wonderful, wealthy people's villas that we design, and then maybe developers cluster of housing. That's about it. And each one of us dream that, okay, can I really get a project of a university or urban design where I'm doing the remaster planning or redeveloping the Badra, like Dosi ji did, right? And we dream about it. So you have to take a conscious call that if you want to do that, then you have to jump into this and not be afraid. There is no other way. You just have to jump on it and keep figuring out how to, first of all, get one project like this, because to really get your hands around and winning a project like this is a hell of a work. And especially in India, if you are not really, if you are following total ethical practice, you will really have to work very, very hard. I mean, it's difficult to describe that, okay, you just do not want to do anything wrong and you want a government project, number one. And even if you have all the qualification, you want to do things wonderfully, you bring a lot of experience and expertise on a subject matter, but you don't have the backing of some political leader, then also you have a problem, right? So it is a really process that unless you jump in it and try to keep figuring out how do I get in, how do I get, once you get in there, you kind of find yourself, oh, this is just the beginning. I don't think I got in. Then you say, okay, to get to the next step, you have to do this, meet this many people, and so forth, till you find the right person to click. So it is a new journey with each project. Like Kedarnath has a new story to tell. The getting shortlisted and really compete for Parliament House. That's the another story. I mean, we were told that you are stupid to even go that path because the project is already decided for. That's where we start. And I said my consciousness that, okay, as an architect and as a planner, even if I don't put my efforts, then I'm not doing justice to my nation. Even if I know maybe that is true or not true, I don't know. But for me, what is in my control is what I can bring on the table. Then let me do that, and then If it goes, it goes. If it doesn't go, it doesn't go. But at least I have done my job. That's how I generally act and put myself in the shoes.
A very positive attitude. Like I remember when I was working with Hasmukh Patel and we were doing CG road redevelopment. And the first thing Hasmukh Bhai said is, why would you work for a governmental agency? They don't pay. Okay, and that was his first statement. And I was an associate. I said, say, if you don't get paid, neither do I.
Right.
Let's try. So, I mean, it's good. I mean, you have this attitude. The second thing I would say is when you start something in a 900 acre, by the way, students, you must understand, okay, when he's talking about residential, it's not small. He's talking about 170 acre development he did outside Ahmedabad. Okay, yeah. Carry on. You something.
No, we do a lot of residential campuses that vary from, let's say, 20 acres to maybe 600 acres. I'm not saying they are small. But the dynamics of getting residential project and dynamic of getting something which is driven by public money are two different aspects. To get the residential project requires one set of dynamics and ingredients versus the getting an awarded of a public money project requires another type of expertise, the appetite for risk taking. As you said, you may not get money and maybe you don't get money and they don't even build it sometime, or sometime BJP loses in some case, they will close your project even if at halfway, and all that risk is there, which is not there in the privately funded project, is all I'm saying.
True. Next is when you start on a, say, like this 900 acre site, correct? Data collection is a nightmare. Like, okay, type of use of building, maybe I can guess. The height of the building, maybe I can guess. I can do photography of the elevations. But when you start doing traffic analysis, patterns, take the gold standard and say, okay, now these are solutions. No, this needs a lot of study, a lot of manpower. How do you do it?
Yeah, there is no easy answer to. Yeah, you need a traffic planner. You need all of the experts who spend their entire professional career working on just roads and transportation. And as a planner or as an architect and planner, you have to bring those expertise. That's just the one component, transportation. You have to deploy them to do the surveys for you. You have to bring them to help you analyze all these. And there's no other way. If I say I'm a transportation expert, I'll be lying myself. I mean, such projects require tremendous different expertise and disciplined level expertise. And as an architect, you have to really, I would say as a director, bring them in, take their expertise and see how you want to use them to advantage to your project and your vision. So that's the way you have to deal with this tremendous manpower, number of hours and investments goes in before even if you win such project. So yes, you have to take such risk, no question about it.
Another part is when you are thinking about a government project, it's a lot of departments, a lot of people. Correct. Now, as architects, we typically want to read our client's mind and make a presentation and make a story and say it. Correct. Now, what do you do when you do not know your client or who will actually show up? So it becomes very interesting. Like, how do you beat that? Like, do you internally run a process of presentations in your office, or is it, how do you go about it?
I'll give an example. For example, the waste to energy project. right? Who is my client? Is it the municipal commissioner? Is it a mayor of the city? Is it the CEO and founder of the Abalone company who is funding the entire project? Is it both? Are citizens of Ahmedabad my client? So you kind of have to really try to understand the mechanics of that on one side. So what you have is, you have a direct client who pay you. You definitely want to manage that. You have the political leadership who have a power to kill or make this project. So you have to manage them. You can't ignore them, right? Mayor has one thing, commissioner will have another thing, and CM of the state will also have a say in the project. So you have to really work with all of them, understand which pointers are driving commissioner, which pointers are driving the private player or a founder and a CEO of the company, which elements will drive the citizens of the city. And you also have your own personal drivers that, okay, I want to at least make sure that I want to make this project the most sustainable. Now, for my own desires, they are not going to spend money. So you have to really work harder to say, okay, I'm not selling you sustainability. I'm selling you so that your project is more feasible and you will make more money at the end while making sustainable work. So you have to do all this life cycle cost analysis, prove yourself day in and day out, and say, okay, if you don't have the money right now, how I can link with the financial institutions so that they can fund them. So you have to really play all these varieties of a role. Just the design head is just a 5 or 10% of it. I would say 90% is a lot more involved to please your multiple clients, and you have to make sure that each one is happy and contributing to your design vision. Because if one or the other is not happy, they definitely will create a situation for you which you will be not happy at the end.
One of our faculty, Neha, has a question that for Kedarnath, was a EIA conducted? Were there ecological or environmental planners on the team?
Neha, for any large project, there is no way you have to do it. Anything beyond 20,000 square meter of a built area, you have to do environmental assessment report. And for sensitive areas such as Kedarnath, you have a tremendous pressure of activists and all other people who are after you to make sure that your project doesn't get built one or the other way. Even if you are really having the right intention to do it in a right way, but you still have these challenges and have to go through this rigorous exercise of complying the EC requirement.
Yeah, that was the second part of a question also, okay, whether local communities involved, and yes, you mentioned that the activists are really present.
Even the religious people and the pandas. I don't know if anyone visited Kedarnath. You have pandas that are the local people, and each panda is a commercial person. He's not a religious person. The more we work with them, we know, and they fight for each square inch of their space, and nothing is documented that how much land they own. So each one wants more land when everything is washed out. So you have to even please and deal with each local panda who said, I claim my land unless I will not approve this master plan. So you have thousands of, I would say, clients there to deal with.
Renuka, you've raised your hand. Yes. You're muted. Yeah. Wait. Just one. Go ahead, Renuka.
Yeah. Hello, sir. The projects were really inspiring, and I am in the same team with Shantanu, sir. So it really will help our students to understand the storytelling part of it and the interdisciplinary part also. So I have had a few students from region around Kedarnath who went on documenting the whole area, and they did it quite rigorously, and what the foundings were that people there have stopped using the traditional technology and the construction methods, and they also go in brick and concrete nowadays. Now when I saw the pictures which you showed of ongoing construction wherein you are trying to come up with the traditional technology, and but what I have found is the skill set also is going it's lacking there. So in such grim situations, how do you and on the top of it, it's a government project. So how do you convince government authorities, to uh, uplift these traditional technical methods, which are time consuming also at times in construction, require a specific kind of a skill set, and on top, but I would also like to say that it does give a wider message of to a larger audience also, to use the local like the slates which you were saying, and what I have received as a feedback is no one in there nowadays uses slates or the wood. So I'd like to hear it from you on this.
Renuka, very good questions. I don't think we have won the entire battle yet. So, because what happens so far, whatever is being built is
Yeah.
the surrounding infrastructure.
Right.
We are just getting into the built form. As you saw in the movie, the first prototype, and we are fighting that battle and trying to justify. So for example, slate versus this metal roof,
Yes.
right? Uh, and I don't know whether we will win that battle. I'm hopeful. We are still fighting. Haven't given up. Uh, so just the spirit of architecture, what we learned, and the inner core of architect should not die in. We have to just keep working at it, keep fighting at it. The example I can give here is uh, what happens is that nobody has a time today, like to build a place like this in the past. People would probably take 20 years, 50 years, right? To build this. Now, in today's time, everything they want in 2 years, 5 years time, entire Kedarnath to be built. So, as an architect, you have to see how do we upgrade the skills of the craftsmen. So they use some technological tools, and their craftsman spirit is still there. So you have to try to kind of reinvent the craftsmanship where their spirit is used, their, I would say, the creativity is used. But let's say if you want to cut 50,000 stone to do this plaza in front of a temple and say, okay, craftsmen will need 5,000 craftsmen and it will take 1 year to do it, Modi will fire me, PM Modi, right? So, so we have to say, okay, how do we bring some equipment to help the process? How do we train local people to use those tools and marry both? So that's what we are trying to do. We are also learning. Do I have an answer? No, but as we learn, I think we try to find an answer. But we definitely want to keep trying for it.
Yes, reinventing of craft was really, I mean, it was a great response. I mean,
Right, right.
yeah. Thank you.
No, it's not only reinventing that, it's probably translating it into what is possible today.
Sure.
And that's actually hands-on. That's a real exercise, because translating and doing construction in today's terms using similar look and finish and materials is an amazing task.
Right, very true.
Okay, Jayesh, thanks a lot. We've taken a lot of your time and it was lovely, lovely. I mean, we were just mesmerized. The presentation just went through, and I really hope my students, for their imminent juries, they've learned storytelling. It's really, really important when you see such a big project, how it is marketed, how it is analyzed, how it is sold. That's an amazing experience. As students, we used to be fascinated. Yeah. And now, Jayesh, you're on the other side. Correct?
Sure.
You're telling us stories. So beautiful. Thank you. Thanks a lot. And with that, we'll take your leave. Right?
It was my pleasure. I think thank you for having me and inviting me. I also enjoyed the exchange and hope it was helpful. And it's a journey that we all have to keep traveling, but don't give up. So I thank you again, and you all take care. Thank you.
Right. Right. So we'll end with that positive message from you. And thank you from all the students and everybody at Navratna University. I'm sure we'll come back to you again and pester you.
It will be my pleasure. No problem. Thank you.
Right. Thanks a lot.